it is me, Big Orange Girl again, and one day I thought that maybe the last time I talked about the Parappa anime wasn't enough, and I had to make an entire analysis of it that probably nobody but me would care to see. I mean, my views have consistently decreased, which makes me very sad, because I may have to quit YouTube, and if you don't want that to happen, I'm begging you from the bottom of my heart to like and subscribe, please! Back on topic though. Back on topic. I don't think the Parappa anime is bad. I actually find it very enjoyable, so enjoyable that I can't stop making fan-dubs of it. Ah shit, here we go again. Oh shit, here we go. But that doesn't mean I don't have my fair share of criticisms towards it. Also, quick warning, I will talk very negatively towards the anime, and I will bring up a few positives despite my enjoyment of it. With that out of the way, let's discuss the elephant in the room. How and why this anime, despite being a prequel to the Parappa games, doesn't work as one. Reason number 1. The cameos. First counter argument towards this statement will be all the instructor cameo appearances in some episodes. And before you say, did Pinky just say that she doesn't enjoy the instructor's cameos? SMH. That couldn't be further from the truth. I love these cameos just as much as everyone else does. And I honestly wish they appeared in more episodes, especially Chop Chop Master Onion. Especially. But their cameos sorta don't make sense when you think about it. Let's take for an example episode 13, where in a flashback we see Parappa, Sunny, PJ, and my girly Katy training karate in Chop Chop Master Onion's dojo. And if you can recall the story of the first Parappa game where Parappa wanted to defend Sunny from the bullies, he was thinking about learning karate, applying that he never learned karate before in his life. I'm sure you can put 2 and 2 together. And even worse, his friends, including Sunny, were there. Not only does that make Parappa look like he has amnesia or something, but also his friends too. Why didn't Sunny just defend herself in front of the bullies, or even in Parappa 2, join in with the rest of the Parappa's friends to fight in the Nunu War? I know karate and fighting in a war isn't comparable, and I wouldn't have a problem with that since both Parappa and PJ were training in the military, but the entire milk can were also there who didn't went to the fucking military. Since the anime showed how Katy went to the dojo to learn karate, shouldn't Sunny also fight in that war since she also technically learned karate as well? You could argue her dad is probably very overprotective of his daughter and didn't let her to participate in the war, which fair enough, but why did he let Milkan, a group of teenage girls, to participate in who are her inexperienced in combat training friends? You see how small errors can cause the biggest plot holes in fiction. Or let's take a look at episode 27, in which my favorite instructor in the entire franchise makes his appearance before Parappa 2 even came out. As much as I love Takuyama's inclusion, I couldn't help but wonder why he's turning red so casually. Wasn't the entire point he got possessed by a video game's cartridge, more specifically Food Court? And also, when he isn't angry in the game or just in good mood, he still stayed red, because anger wasn't the thing that caused Takuyama to turn red. I'm not making any Pixar puns, okay? Okay, good. Also, Katy says,
known to do great haircuts, but he's gone bananas ever since that tape deck started rolling. He'll only do afro.
And in her tone, it sounds like this sort of thing has never happened before. While the anime comes here and says, bitch, I don't even listen to ya, and fumbles the back hard. If you say, what if Katy has never seen Takuyama transform from blue to red? In the same episode, we clearly see that Parappa has seen Takuyama's nonsensical transformation and who has also held hostage. And considering this is a prequel to the games, why is Parappa acting like he has never seen something like this before? Considering both the anime and Parappa the Rapper 2 were made around the same time, you'd think that they're going to stay consistent with one another, and we haven't gotten to the most important thing yet. Reason number 2. Too much accuracy. I know what you're probably thinking, but Pinky, you argued how inconsistent the anime is compared to the games. Why are you complaining that they are following the source material? You're right, but there's a double-edged sword here. So let's assume during the games, Parappa's friends are either 16, 17 or 18 since Parappa got the driver's license, and they go out in clubs, so maybe they're 18, I don't know. And it's confirmed that Katy is 20, so yeah, they're totally young adults or in late teenage years, while in the anime they are significantly younger since they still go to public school and clubs? But Aren't they kids? Why are they going out in clubs, let alone PJ working as a DJ in there? And how come no one ever took notice and kicked them out? That's so dangerous for children to go to places where people get drunk or high. Also in episode 29, they have Matt, Paula, and Katie working in a highly secured building as staff members and lawyers? How old are they supposed to be? It wouldn't have been a problem if it wasn't established that they still attend public school. Next point before I lose my mind. How come Parappa has a crush on Sunny for such a long time and not have the courage in the games to ask her out when he already did that in episode 28? I get that he's a simp, but this is really stretching it. Also, how come he doesn't lose interest in her for such a long time? If they never officially dated, why would he still be in love with her after all this time? That makes Parappa look desperate as hell and he needs to go to therapy. Also, depending on how long it has been since the anime and the games, why is Parappa so interested in becoming a skater? In Malami Now's interview with Katie, she says that it's one of her hobbies, not Parappa's. You could argue that probably he stopped having a passion for skating and wanted to become a rapper instead, but there's two issues. Firstly, why is Parappa still dressed in hip-hop style when that was before his desire to become a rapper and hasn't dressed like actual skaters, instead with safety equipment? And secondly, the anime is called Parappa the Rapper, not Parappa the Skater or Parappa the Puppy. You could argue it's called like this because of the franchise's name, but it falls apart when you realize he only raps in one episode, the last one of the series. The last one, not even the first, the last. Imagine being a kid who has never heard of Parappa, watching this anime and seeing its name, and you get interested in to see this cute little dog rap, and you wait and wait and wait some more until you realize how misleading the title is. And I'm one of these kids. This is how I used to feel like. Every time Parappa takes the spotlight, I was expecting him to rap, and I was always getting disappointed by it. It's just a Goofy movie and extremely Goofy movie situation all over again. And if they wanted so badly to have skating in the anime, why didn't let Katie skate? Because it's one of her passions. Okay, let's move on. Okay, let's just move on. There's also a similar issue where in the opening with Love Together, Katie was holding her bass from the games, but she never used it in the show, not even in the background, and in the show, she wasn't even thinking about becoming a bassist, so why does she have a bass? Also, coming back to the instructor cameos, so they make the effort to make the Parappa cast look like kids or twins, but the instructors from the games look exactly the same, except in 3D, like they haven't aged a single day, which makes me wonder, how much older are they from the Parappa's friends? Let's take a look at MC King Kong Mushi for example. I always assumed he was at least 10 years older or even less than Parappa's friends, but since the anime is a prequel where the main cast are kids, we see MC King Kong Mushi look exactly like in the games and already wants to work with PJ in episode 29. That makes Mushi look like a goddamn pedophile and makes him look old as hell. And also because in this anime he's very rude for some reason and in the games he isn't, that makes me wonder, why does Parappa want to work with such rude guy? Like, why? And now, let's take a look at Chief Puddle from Malami in episode 7. How does the show handle him? Well, he still makes inexperienced kids do his own work. In Malami, it was already bad enough to give a random teen do that, but kids is going way too far. You wanna know something even worse? He let Parappa pilot a helicopter, not a professional pilot, do that. What the actual fuck is wrong with him? How he didn't get fired from his job yet is beyond me. Also, he makes Parappa's friends help him with his relationship issues and practically makes them stalk and dox his lover? What the fuck? Is he seriously this incompetent? How is he a firefighter when he wants help from random kids, and why is he even in a relationship where he can't stand up for himself? Does he even have a lawyer? Before, I thought Parappa's reaction to Chief Puddle's backstory was out of character, but he clearly knew that there was something wrong with this dude. Also, weren't Parappa's friends taught not to trust strangers? I think only the guys were, but the girls here pretend like it's okay for a grown-up to be so fucking desperate with his own personal problems to random kids he just met. There are many other examples where this anime is too accurate to the games, but I think those examples were enough. So let's just get to the third reason before I have a meta breakdown. Reason number 3. Music key features. Now let's go back to complaining about the lack of consistency by looking at the music key features that help define the franchise, which are completely gone in the anime. The first one being obviously the art direction. You know how people praise the Parappa games with its unique art style of the characters being 2D like paper cutouts? Well, the anime made a smart move by making all the characters, including random background ones, 3D, like it's no big deal. It would have been sorta fine if it didn't go against the lore, but Parappa's name somewhat translates to, paper thin, not 3D cheesehead. Also, the town it takes place in both the games and the anime, it's called Parappa Town. Again, paper thin. Where are the 2D characters and objects? Where's the 2D in general? I wonder the people who worked on the anime, how would they explain in lore how the characters turned 2D in the games? So the characters are 3D in the anime because we need money. The second issue that I don't see that many people bring up is how inconsistent the interest and motivations of the characters are. We already talked about how, at least to me, doesn't make sense for Parappa to want to be from a skater to rapper because how little his passion is explored compared to his passion for rapping in the games. But he isn't the only character. My favorite character in the franchise, Katy, also suffers from a similar issue. And it isn't just about her having a base in the opening credits and nowhere else throughout the show, but also how much she is into fashion. Whereas in the games, her obsession with it wasn't even hinted at. You could argue it was kinda hinted at the last cutscene in Malami when she was asking Ma-san what to wear, but even then, it wasn't super obvious, and honestly, I see it more as her just trying to look her best just for the concert, not in general, which doesn't mean she's obsessed with fashion. And also in Malami now's interview, when they asked Katy about her passions, she nowhere else mentioned fashion, not anything fashion or designer related. As I said, she was into skating and roller skating, so why didn't the anime just explore this part of her, to be consistent with the lore and such? The last victim of this sabotaging is PJ, who went from a chill friend who is a DJ to a guy who is obsessed with sleeping and doing a great Wednesday Addams impression. I actually like him better in the anime, even if he isn't consistent in terms of his personality, but this video isn't about praising the anime, so I'll continue with the negatives. At least his interest in DJing is kept instead of making him wanting to be a chef cooking alongside Gordon Ramsay and out of nowhere wanting to be a DJ instead. Why did I write this in the script? Another thing about Katy is that even her personality isn't consistent with the one in the games, as she very easily gets mad, while in the games she can kinda get pissed off but not downright mad, and no, I don't count this.
Parappa! What do you expect to do without a cake? A birthday party without a cake is like a dance floor without me. Do you understand that?
Because this scene is an imagination that Parappa has, and as we know, he tends to over-exaggerate his views on reality through his imagination, I don't count this. I don't consider this canon. Also, in episode 17, which is one of my least favorite episodes in the anime, despite focusing on my favorite character, she was a huge attention seeker, while in the games, specifically in Malami now's interview with her, she took the time to praise her fellow bandmates and friends way more than herself. Sure, when you lose cool mode in stage 7, she says,
"No, Milk Can is not Milk Can without me anyway."
But isn't she right about it? I guess the people writing the anime didn't seem to understand her character and decided to base it off this one cutscene from Parappa 1 instead of her songs in her Make It Sweet album or literally anywhere else. I'm planning on making a video of hers because she's a very underappreciated character who needs more love and attention, so I won't go into detail what defined her character here. The third and possibly the biggest issue I have is how music isn't the main point of the anime. I'm not saying to make it a musical, even though it would be cool to have a proper musical that I even dreamt about it multiple times, but at least being the main selling point of the show. Because, the games are rhythm games, one of the earliest ones in fact. Instead of getting a banger soundtrack, we get a generic one, and don't get me wrong, I kinda love the anime OST, mainly because it gives me nostalgic vibes, despite having no nostalgia towards it whatsoever, but still, how did we went from this?
Burgers is all we have in mind. The cook's the best, you better get in line. Now put it on the tray, is it for here or to go? Any which way it tastes good, you know.
To this. Don't get me wrong, there are bangers in the anime like Love Together and Attitude, but those songs were standalone ones and weren't made specifically for the anime. At the very least, the anime could explore the character's passion for music, like Parappa listening and rapping to hip-hop songs in his free time, Katy actually using the bass from the opening and trying to play it, but not being really good at it at first, and why she wants to be a bassist to begin with, and it has Sunny having passion for singing and going to singing classes. I don't know, just I wanted the anime to explore everyone's shared passion. I mean, they got that with PJ, who had 2 full episodes dedicated to him being a DJ, so why they couldn't do the same with the others? Also, I would like Matt and Paula to be the only ones with no passion towards music, explaining why they don't appear in the games and how they would rather work regular jobs instead. Now let's get to the final reason why this anime doesn't work as a prequel to the Parappa games. Reason number 4. Random stuff that makes zero sense. Now this part of the video will be a little disorganized in comparison to the previous ones because I will just point out random stuff that doesn't make sense in comparison to what the game set up. Firstly, where the fuck are Polo and Matt during the events of the games? Sure, they weren't invented for the games, just the anime, but at least could have tried to explain why they don't get mentioned, like moving to another city or country, or maybe they start being close to the main Parappa cast. I don't know, something. Anything. For me, it makes more sense for Gasser and Gruber to not show up in the games, but for Matt and Paula, one of the main cast and one of the closest friends to Parappa's gang, even being a part of his gang, not at least get mentioned? I don't find that believable at all. Secondly, if this is supposed to take place before the first Parappa game, why does Boxy Boy have his design from the second game as well as the first? Was it that hard to keep him in his OG form? Thirdly, why do some of the side characters look out of place in Parappa's world? Dorothy looks more like a strawberry shortcake character, and that alien green dude looks like he comes from a Japanese bootleg of SpongeBob. Actually, speaking of him, since when he was applied the ability to time travel in any of the games? People make the argument that in the US version of Unjama Lami travels back in time to a deserted island. Well, I see where they're coming from with this theory. I personally don't agree with it. And if they can time travel, why they didn't use it to solve their problems? Literally, if Parappa didn't want to get a lifetime supply of noodles, he could have time traveled before he got it to prevent this from happening. In episode 25, where PJ gets a virus and grows big because of it, he could have time traveled before he got it as well. That's why I hate when time traveling is introduced in anything ever, well, except for Back to the Future trilogy. And the last thing I would say that makes zero sense is the fact that Parappa has a younger sister. It would have been fine if she was even mentioned in media outside of the anime. She wasn't mentioned in either the games or even the Ronnie Fun comics. I thought the Parappa cast not acknowledging Matt and Polo was bad enough, but Parappa's own sister? Is she dead? Does she live somewhere else with Parappa's mom? Because I feel like Parappa and his wife divorced, but that also can't be it since she lives with Parappa in the anime. I need to know, okay? Am I too invested in this franchise for me to not ask about it? Give me a break. How would I fix it? So this segment will be very brief because there's a simple way to fix all of these issues I listed throughout the video. Just start all over. Make the anime more consistent with the pre-established lore of the games without making it too accurate if it has to be a prequel, or just don't make it a prequel in general. Don't give Parappa a younger sister, don't change Boxy Boy's design, don't go against the purpose of the games and make it more music-centric. And that's it. Of course there are other issues they needed to fix, but that's just summarizing the main points. And if you say, but Parappa is confirmed to be 15 and probably still goes to school, so the anime doesn't take a very long time before the first game, I get where you're coming from, but I think you're wrong. Firstly, Parappa learns how to drive in the first game, and it isn't legal for someone my and his supposed age to get a driver's license. Next month I will be turning 16, so in some countries I will be able to get one. Lol. Secondly, they made the effort to make Parappa look younger in the anime and even sound younger than in the games. Thirdly, no way in hell Katy's love for fashion could go away this quickly. And fourthly, no way everyone forgot about Matt and Paula this quickly and carelessly. Well, that sure was a video. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment on which video game related topic you want me to cover more of. See ya!